From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, September 12, 2017 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We're going to begin today's meeting with our flag salute. That will be led by Kevin Burton, Foundation President, Adventist Health, Bakersfield. And I'd ask if you would all remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Pledge, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, next on our agenda, I'd like for County Counsel Mark Nations to report on actions taken in closed session from Tuesday, August 29th, 2017.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board did meet in closed session on August 29th. It was agenda item number 103 pertaining to labor negotiations. There is no reportable action from that closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. If you'd like to follow along with our agendas this morning, they are located at the tables in the back by the doors. And we're going to begin with our consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So at this time, I will read the consent agenda items. Starting on page 2, items 4 through 6, as well as item 9 are on consent. On page 3, all items 10 through 17 are on consent. On page 4, items 18 through 22 are on consent, as well as 24 and 25. On page 5, all items 26 through 34 are on consent. On page 6, items 35 through 39 are on consent, as well as 41 and 42. And on page 7, all items 43 through 51 are on consent. And finally, on page 8, all items 52 through 57 are on consent. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comment on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board. I do have something I need to read into the record. I will abstain from the following consent agenda items, item 44, because of a source of income to my spouse, and so I will hand this to the clerk. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And then I'll ask if any board members would like to remove an item, or I would request a motion on the consent agenda, but I will vote on the consent agenda, but I'm recusing myself from item 44.
Motion.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. And now we will return to page 2 on our agenda, starting with item 1, resolutions and proclamations. This first is to proclaim October 20th through October 1st as Kern County Fair Days, and Supervisor Perez will make this presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. Motion on proclamation. There he is, in the house.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thanks for coming back. We miss you. We love you. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Good morning, Chairman Scrivener and fellow members of the board. It is with virtually uncontrollable excitement that I make this proclamation to you today, honoring our very own Kern County Fair. This 12-day celebration and event is a exceptionally fun time, unparalleled time to spend with family here in Kern County, enjoying great food, exhibits, and entertainment. As many of you know, the Kern County Fair has many family-friendly attractions, including cattle ranch rodeos, a petting zoo, karaoke contests, dance performances, hypnotists, carnival rides. Concert performances at the Budweiser Pavilion this year include Tower of Power, Leanne Rimes, Smash Mouth, In Vogue, I'll be there, Mike, War, Chris August, and many, many more. The Kern County Fair also showcases our agricultural industries by supporting local 4-H and FFA programs, creating agricultural education opportunities, and maintaining a standard of excellence for family fun activities. Casey's excited. We are incredibly excited and grateful for the upcoming great Kern County Fair, and I encourage everyone to get their tickets and have some fun and join all of us at the fair. It is with great excitement, I can't compete with that, but I am trying, that I proclaim today, along with my colleagues, the September 20th through October 1st as Kern County Fair Days in Kern County, of course, and this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes and signed by our honorable chairman, Mr. Zach Scrivener. The floor is yours. All right.
Are you sure it's mine? I don't know.
That's tough competition right
It
there.
is, it is. Thank you very much, supervisors. Thank you, Supervisor Perez. I really appreciate all of your support. We have a great fair ready for you this year. We have a lot of free exhibits, stingray petting area. The kids can pet stingrays like up at Monterey Bay Aquarium. We have Tonka the dragon that will compete with Casey the bull out there. We have a lot of different free things for you to see, food. We have about 3,500 animals coming into the livestock area. Our livestock is up this year, so a lot of competition out there. That's fun to watch, our 4-H and FFAs. Also, Still Exhibits is up by 3,000 entries, which is all your jams, jellies. We're up to 11,000 entries. So the community's really responding, and I hope you guys come out. I really appreciate your support. And we'll see you out there, I hope, at the concerts and things. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, don't go anywhere just wait 1 sec. We'll get some good pictures. I would also like to take a brief moment to thank my friend Mike Olcott for the incredible supporter and friend that he is to my district, this county. Recently, as you know, we hosted our third blood drive of the year. Because of the time of the year, Houchin Blood Bank was able to secure fair tickets to give to every donor that provided blood. And this year, I asked my friend Mike to please, help us encourage and inspire more folks to come out by adding a parking pass to the overall, thank you to donors. And of course, he said yes without hesitation. First it was 50, then it went to 75. Never a hesitation from Mike to support this community in every way possible. And I am so grateful to you, Mike. You have done this for years, as they've taken kids from all over the community to the fair. You are so gracious, so generous, and kind. And this is a small thank you to you, a certificate of recognition to Mike Olcott, Kern County Fair, in recognition of your generous contribution to our blood drive in partnership with Houchin Community Blood Bank, and for your continued commitment to improving our community. I'll tell you, Mike, every single person that came would not leave without their passes. They were absolutely devoted to the 2 passes, and we had a stellar day. 66 pints of blood were collected.
That's great.
We replenished the supplies that had been sent to Houston, and it was just absolutely remarkable. A beautiful day of great collaboration, and I really am truly so grateful to you, all that you do. And I know that if you don't, it'll keep you in line, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does. He keeps me in line.
So very good. Thank you, Casey. Mike, you're wonderful.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you for
Supervisor
everything.
Perez.
Thank you. Can we get a quick close-up? Let's get in here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Next item on our agenda is item number 2. This is to proclaim September 24th through the 30th, 2017 as Family Dinners Make a Difference Week in Kern County, and Supervisor Gleason will make this presentation.
Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, we got a twofer going on this morning because we're going to really thank not only and proclaim not only family dinners and make a difference week in Kern County, but we're also going to thank CAP-K for their supportive partnership in this endeavor. So the proclamation is proclaiming this week Family Dinners Make a Difference Week. It reinforces the importance of family engagement, and it enforces the overall wellness of the community based on that togetherness and that whether that having those dinners and those times to communicate and talk with each other. According to the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University, teens that do not eat dinner with their families regularly, about 5 to 7 times a week, are nearly 4 times more likely to use tobacco. So that's pretty startling, if you ask me. More than twice as likely to use alcohol. 2.5 times more likely to use marijuana, and almost 4 times more likely to say they expect to try drugs in the future. So this one little thing that we're trying to bring together and to sponsor and to get people to understand is the value displays the importance and the value we place on our fundamental building block, the family, and what better way to celebrate that family and to learn about each other and to communicate and share problems and share achievements than at the dinner table. So it's a wonderful, and I guess it sounds easy, but maybe it's not so easy. Maybe there are places in our community that have more difficulty in getting those times lined up, getting the people together, busy schedules, all those things. So it sounds easy, but I think it's something that we dedicate ourselves to. In this way, we can have a significant improvement in the quality of life of the people who need it the most in our community. So I highly endorse this, and I'm glad we have the partnership of CAP-K and Bill's team working on it. So I got these proclamations. Let me read them. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed September 2017 as Family Dinners Make a Difference Week in Kern County. And this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes by our Honorable Chairman, Mr. Zach Scrivener. I also have a certificate for Jaime. He's not here for CAP-K. Oh, Jaime, I didn't even see you. I'm so busy looking at this mug. I didn't even oh, he's there. Thank you for coming. Well, what I wanted to do, it changes my pitch a little bit. I wanted to thank CAP-K for their involvement and their participation in this great deal. And I have a certificate also for you, which says that in recognition of outstanding partnership to promote Family Dinners Make a Difference Week and for exemplary public service and civic contributions to the community in Kern County, signed by all 5 board members. Thank you very much for what you do. Thank you. Thanks for your partnership. And Bill, this is to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I give you the mic.
Thank you. I always love following the fair proclamation. I saw that on the agenda. I thought, oh, I look around, and at first I didn't see him. I thought, okay, am I going to come up here? But no, he was there. Before I start, I gave blood for the first time at the last blood donor. I went the time before, but my foot was in a cast, if you remember, and so they rejected me. So if you want to get me to do something, I'm one of those people, make a barrier, and I want to jump, because I'm like, what do you mean I can't give blood? So I had to make sure I came back the second time. My wife is one of those people who has the multi-gallon things on her car, because one of our children needed blood after birth or wouldn't have sustained. And so she, for years, has been giving blood. And so you've started a new trend in the Walker family. Family dinners make a difference. This is an easy lift. If you think how many of you have children that you took to sporting events and even coached maybe some of your children, worked and volunteered at your schools, or yourself played sports or got involved in clubs and organizations. And the core of all those, and even Nike had a commercial that they would show statistics of how young girls who were involved in sports or different things, of course they wanted you to buy the Nike product, that they were much less likely to get into drugs, get pregnant, drop out of school, et cetera, et cetera. This is the core of that research. The core of that research is that actually pulling families together and eating together several times a week gives you startling good outcomes. And so we've done this every year, and we pass out the bags, and we make the bags available at a place. But a couple of years ago, we switched, and we actually targeted agencies, and we worked with Dina Murphy at DHS and the CalWorks program and at different programs to actually target families that were at risk, to get those families to start the habit of having dinner together, because it does actually change lives. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank Community Extra Partnership, CAPK, and Jaime Orano, the program manager, who's going to speak in just a moment. Also the Salvation Army, the food distributions for Kern County, and the CalWorks program, and Dina Murphy specifically for the partnerships in this effort. Thank you.
Good job.
Jaime?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jaime Arona, the CAPK program manager. It's greatly appreciated that we partner up with somebody that, like them. Just a little bit about the food bank. We distribute 13 million pounds of food last year, over 113 sites. So just being in partnership with somebody, to give back to the community, that's what we're here for. And we appreciate it. And hopefully, moving forward, we even do more with each other.
Good job, Jaime. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get a picture. Can we get a picture, please? I can leave that stuff up there. Outstanding. Good job, Bill.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Next on our agenda will be item 3. This item will proclaim September 2017 as Disaster Preparedness Month in Kern County, and Supervisor Maggard will make this presentation.
Thank you. Motion to approve proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Gentlemen, how are you today? Hi, how are you?
Filling out a place, I don't know if I can. No.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here this morning to help us be more prepared for disaster. Certainly, you could not be more, it couldn't be more fitting than it is this week after watching Hurricane Harvey hit Texas and then Hurricane Irma hit Florida. A great earthquake rocked Mexico and killed dozens of people. It's been 65 years since we've had the major 1952 earthquake here in the Kern County area. And I suppose there could be earthquake, there could be fire, there could be flooding. We are not immune to natural disasters here. So what we're doing is proclaiming September 2017 as Disaster Preparedness Month in Kern County. I'm joined by our Fire Chief, Brian Marshall, and by our Director of Public Health, Matt Constantine. There's an annual nationwide campaign to increase public awareness about the importance of individual and family preparedness during the month of September. And we're making a proclamation today to encourage families to take simple steps to be prepared in the event of a disaster, whether that's a barrel in your garage that has water and food in it in the event of an earthquake and you had to shelter in place, or that it might be a go bag that you keep in each of your cars that you can use with a flashlight and something to start a fire and a first aid kit, things like that, maybe a little bit of food. So whatever it is that you might be able to do, we want you to think about that this month. So the fire department and the health department have joined efforts to promote this informational campaign, and I'll let Chief Marshall tell us a little bit more about that. But so Chief, would you step up and I'll give you this proclamation just showing our support for proclaiming September 2017 as Disaster Preparedness Month in Kern County, signed by our Chairman, Zach Scrivener, on this the 12th day of September. Thank you for your leadership in this. Please tell us what we can do to how to be more prepared.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard, Chairman Scrivener, members of the board. I think Supervisor Maggard stole all my thunder because he mentioned all of the disasters that are occurring across the world today and right here in the United States. I'm pretty much guarantee we won't have a hurricane strike Kern County, but I can guarantee you we're going to have an earthquake one of these days. We've already seen the wildfire devastation, the Erskine fire last year, the Calgary fire this year, and people are evacuated, homes are destroyed, lives are changed forever. But it's all about preparation. I brought some firefighters today, the first responders. They're the ones that are going to be on the street helping people. But we do not have enough firefighters, deputy sheriffs, EMS personnel to help everybody right after a disaster occurs. This is where we need the public to partner with us to be ready, to have the go kit, to have water, to have food, medicine, pet food, baby food, anything that you need to sustain your life for days, weeks, maybe months. Because in a devastating earthquake, it could be months before we can actually get people on the road to recovery. Just imagine the entire city of Bakersfield and the surrounding area destroyed in an earthquake. So we're partnering this year. We're doing something different. We're partnering with public health. Actually, I'll give some of the credit, most of the credit to Matt Constantine for his idea to get this campaign going for a month. The fire department, the Office of Emergency Services is running with this campaign with public health, where we are doing news media events, and we're just trying to get the message out to the public because we need their help. We need them to be ready. So thank you. It's an honor to stand before your board and preach this message because I believe in it. I know Matt believes in it, and the first responders, they believe in it too, that we need that partnership. So thank you very much for this proclamation.
Thanks, fellas. Good to see you. Thanks for what you do. Thanks. You're welcome.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. The next item on our agenda is item 23. This item is under Employers Training Resource. What, I missed one? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Was blown right past public presentation, excuse me. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 7, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. So at this time, I'll ask if there are any members of the public who would like to make a public presentation. Please state your name and observe our 2-minute time limit. Please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener, members of the board. I'm Michael Turnipseed. I represent the Kern County Taxpayers Association. Like many things, I'm here to talk about something that's kind of under the radar that only people who are buried in the weeds find about. There is a plan to start the reduction of Amtrak services to Bakersfield. We had a meeting in our office 3 weeks ago. Supervisor Perez was there. The CAO was there. Mayor Goh was there. We met with Amtrak to discuss options and alternatives. We will be going to their meeting on the 22nd to make a plea, not to necessarily keep the level of service we have, but improve our services. Because the biggest trouble with Amtrak is they have trains that run at times that nobody wants to ride them. So why don't we work with them to have trains that when we want to ride them, like to get to Sacramento by 9 in the morning so we can do a round trip business trip in a day and be home by 10 o'clock at night. That's kind of our main goal with all this. But like everything, you run into a few obstacles. One of the most important obstacles we have is we're the only Valley County without representation on the San Joaquin Valley Rail Authority. Even Little Tulare County, that doesn't even have a train, is a member of the authority. We have asked COG to join, and we had a meeting there yesterday afternoon. Mr. Scrivener, you were there. Mr. Couch was on the phone. The city was represented by Councilman Smith and Assistant City Manager Telia, and Mr. Pope was there too, Mr. Akini, to tell me, like I've heard many times before on many different issues, Mike, you know this isn't going to happen. Why are you doing this? We're doing it because it's the right thing to do, because 150,000 local residents ride the train. And an additional 400,000 residents from Southern California come to Bakersfield on buses to catch the train. So we face SB 375, all these pollution rules, and we're sitting back and encouraging more people to drive their cars because we're reducing cost-effective rail service. And somebody brought up the idea, well, gee whiz, the revenues from the riders are down. And I said, well, I've been riding the train over 25 years to Sacramento, and I pay the same amount today that I did in the 1990s. It's $80 round trip. If we need more revenue, then two things. Increase ridership by giving times where people want to ride the train so you can get to where you need to be when you need to get there. Having trains get to basically 6 trains get to Sacramento after your 9 o'clock meeting in the morning doesn't do anybody really any good. So we are advocating a couple things. First of all, we're going to ask the authority to establish a direct service and express service that eliminates some of the stops in smaller towns and would only stop Bakersfield, Fresno, Merced, Stockton, Sacramento. It shaves 45 minutes off the train ride, and the 4:30 train could be in Sacramento before 9. We already have a direct train, well, it's not express, at 5:10 to get home at night without dealing with the buses. So I'm basically here today to ask the county, because the county has hundreds, if not thousands, of employee trips to Sacramento every year. The train is a very viable way to save money. If you put them in a car, it's going to cost you 50 cents a mile to drive the car, and it's 600 miles. So that's $300 instead of 80. Oh, we have to spend the night. Well, hotel rooms are anywhere from $80 to $300 depending where you stay. Some people stay at different places. So I think the business community and the county would benefit greatly by having better, more efficient train service. And I'm just here today to ask that the county go online just for the cost savings for travel to Sacramento and to support our effort to do that. We will be going to the COG next Thursday night. I have no illusions that they're not going to do anything because the city of Bakersfield made it very clear yesterday at this meeting they don't want any part of anything, and they are the largest member of the COG. So I'm here today just to tell you what I'm doing. There's no secrets here, and there'll be a group of us traveling on the 22nd by train to Stockton to attend the meeting. So I'm asking you to lend the county support as a fiscally, not only fiscally, but environmentally responsible duty to improve train service, keep cars off the road. Are there any questions? If not, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Tramseed. Who'll be next, please?
Good morning, Mr. Scrivener, and board members, and Ms. Perez. My name is Nadine Escalante. I come on a regular basis to speak about our policing issues. As we get ready to soon move into the month of October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness, I think it's important to bring to your guys' attention, there's a lot of domestic violence victims that have been wrongfully persecuted in our county justice system. And I've met these courageous women when I was wrongfully convicted and was put in anger management classes. But I always believe God puts you where he needs you to be. And so I'm very blessed and honored that I have met some very fabulous, strong women who have continued to endure the things that they've gone through and that they are going through currently. My ex-husband is, he works for the state of California as a correctional officer. I was very honored when he chose that career because it was after I was a correctional officer for Kern County Probation Department. I set the tone for my family, and I'm very thankful for that because I see my children growing up to be very good, honorable people in this community. In June of this year, I have called the Sheriff's Department before, and things have not always been done correctly. And I'm very thankful that you guys are hearing my voice and the voices of others in the community and actively seeking change. In June, and I have pictures, I'm short a picture, I left it in my car. 2 deputies came over as asked by the prison in Tehachapi, Lieutenant Madden, to come and check on my safety. It took them 5 hours. Thank God I wasn't dead. This is your deputy knocking at my door with his baton out. My 13-year-old daughter answered the door to a sheriff with a baton over her head. The children in the neighborhood up the street, and their father is a correction officer, the deputy that lives up the street, his kids were outside. They saw this. I told this deputy, in not very kind words, get off my property. You know better. Don't ever come to my house like that again. You put fear in my child's eyes. You made yourself look poorly. These are for you guys. I have one more for Mr. Scrivener. I have had wonderful encounters with deputies who have actually done their job correctly and with justice and with honor and God, knowing God is watching over them. And one particular one was a couple nights ago, he responded to a call that I had made concerning my sister's welfare, and Deputy Christopher Gonzalez responded and called me and let me know how my sister was doing. This deputy is young in our department and doing an amazing job. He listens to who his supervisor was at one point who trained him, and his supervisor trained me when I worked at juvenile hall and I was extra help. His supervisor is Marvin Gomez. Marvin is an asset to the Kern County Probation Department. Use the assets that you guys have in Kern County Probation, Kern County Sheriff's Department. These are the most high-paying county jobs that you guys have, budget-wise. And as you guys get ready to step into your new budget year, please make sure that there is training and awareness for issues of domestic violence, mental health services, because the majority of domestic violence victims that you are serving have severe depression issues. They're not crazy, as I've been labeled by sheriffs. We're sad. We're not crazy. So I ask you, as you get ready to go into your next year of training for your deputies, your probation officers, make sure they're trained properly. Because I was very saddened to hear one of the women who was wrongfully convicted, her probation officer came out to see her after she had tried to attempt suicide. And we were all highly concerned. She's a very good woman. She's a mother. The probation officer, and I'm not going to say, but I'll let you guys know later. This probation officer told her, "Are you stupid? What's wrong with you? Why would you do something so stupid?" People are not aware committing suicide or attempting to commit suicide is one of the strongest things a person can do, because you actually believe that you're sacrificing for your family. You actually believe that if you leave this world, you're doing your family and your friends a favor because you really think you're a problem. It's the strongest thing that somebody can actually do. Speak to licensed clinical therapists, psychiatrists, people who have an immense amount of education. Let them teach our law enforcement how to properly respond to calls.
Thank you, Ms. Escalante.
Thank you.
Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make a comment to Ms. Escalante, who comes to see us regularly. She's a resident of the 3rd District. And last time you were here, Ms. Escalante, you alleged that the county counsel's office did not respond to you. You made a request for them to speak to you. The county counsel's office, as I understand it, reached out to you, and you gave them the name of your attorney to respond to. I think that was a Mr. Rodriguez. Is that right? Yeah, Mr. Rodriguez. When someone is represented by counsel, attorneys can't talk to you directly. They have to talk to your attorney.
Yes, yes, sir.
So he did respond to you through your attorney as you directed him to
Okay.
do so.
Thank you very much.
And I want to make sure, you're a resident of the 3rd District, I want to make sure that you are going to have the best prospects of affecting the change that you so passionately want to have. The person who runs the probation department is appointed by and directly accountable to the judges, to the court. So your issues with the probation department, I hope you're communicating directly with Mr. Miracle, who is you finished your comments already, to Mr. Miracle, and he is a responsible fellow,
Yes, he is.
a real professional, but if you want to affect change in the probation department, he is the person who will most directly affect that. Parallel to that, if you have concerns about the sheriff's department, I would urge you to speak with our sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, because he is the person to whom all of those deputies are accountable. We affect his budget. He affects the posture with which his deputies are out there on the street. So I want you to be successful. I want you to get what you want because you're so passionate about it. But I just want you to help you move to the right place. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mr.
Thanks,
Scrivener,
Brett.
I just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Maggard, for reaching out to me and letting me know 2 weeks ago. And also, thank you so, so much for the lights in our neighborhood. You guys were implementing the LED lights. Our children are blessed and thankful. This past Saturday night, 5 of us neighbors were outside until almost 10:30 with our children running amok in the neighborhood playing. So I thank you for making sure our streets are a lot brighter and safer over in our neighborhood. And I know my neighbors thank you very much. So
Thank you, Ms. Escalante. Do we have any other speakers, please? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to board member announcements and reports. Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'd like to make a referral. I'd like to, we have a decision coming up in the not-too-distant future about marijuana and the cultivation and distribution of it, and an EIR is underway, and Ms. Oviat's doing a fantastic job with that. What I would like to do is I would not like to limit the input from other department heads and make sure everybody feels comfortable in getting their opinions and their professional thoughts about how we take on this issue to the board. So I open it up to all department heads, all elected officials, the DA and the sheriff, and everybody who wants to have an opinion, make sure they can formally make that presentation to us. And I'd like to have that worked and coordinated so we can make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. I said a bit earlier, shared some of the highlights of a remarkable blood drive we held a couple of weeks ago. I would like to thank our very own Mr. Nations, Mr. Nations and Mr. Lifquist, who's been at all of our blood drives. I'm so grateful for. We're there bright and early. I didn't get to catch you because I came in a few minutes after it started, but thank you, Mr. Nations, for being there and being supportive. We actually had 5 department heads, Mr. Walker, as you know, Lito Murillo, and of course Pam Singh of the Public Defender's Office. Special thank you, heartfelt thank you to Cindy Zimmer of the District Attorney's Office, who brought 7 deputy DAs who waited around in the hot sun in their suits, and I was just so touched by that. Also to SIPA. And my good friend Willie Rivera, who provided Sequoia lunches to everyone who came, and of course, our great partners at the fair. It was a remarkable success. We had over 100 people, 25 walk-ins. They had to turn people away. And it was really a great time to come together, support the needs here locally, but even outside of this state, into places we know are suffering so incredibly. So thank you. It really is so nice to come together. We didn't talk politics. We didn't debate policy. We just came together and supported this community and the great cause of loving our neighbors. So really heartfelt. Mr. Nations, thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Okay, any other board member announcements or reports? Seeing none, then we'll move on now to item 23 on our agenda. Employers Training Resource. This is a request authorized to apply for the National Endowments of the Arts, Our Town Grant, and request for a letter of support for Employers Training Resource grant application for the Kern County Youth Film Festival. So I'll ask Teresa Hitchcock, who heads up ETR, to start us off. Ms. Hitchcock, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener, members of the board. The item before you is to request a letter of support from your board for an application by Employers Training Resource for a National Endowment of the Arts Our Town grant. Grant funding will be used to support a film festival to be held in October of 2018. The film festival is planned to be a culminating event and a year-long training and education effort to provide local students with workforce training in screenplay writing, graphic arts, film production, web design, and other fields that are considered as a part of the creative class in workforce. According to Richard Florida in his book entitled The Rise of the Creative Class, which comprised less than 10% of the workforce in the late 19th century and no more than 15% for much of the 20th century, began to surge in the 1980s. Since that time, more than 20 million new creative class jobs have been created in the United States. This epoch-defining class now numbers more than 40 million workers, a third of the workforce, and it generates more than $2 trillion in wages and salaries, more than 2/3 of the total U.S. payroll. An additional 7 million or so creative class jobs will be created over the next decade, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics projections. The film festival and supporting training activities are an ongoing part of our efforts to provide opportunities to engage youth in positive activities and increase their employability in Kern County. Employers Training Resource has already secured several partnerships in executing the Kern County Youth Film Festival. Among our partners are Kern Economic Development Corporation, the Arts Council of Kern, Bakersfield College, the Foundation for Second Chances, Youth Build, Cornerstone Solutions, which is a part of Job Corps, and several others, including the Kern County Library. All partners are in agreement that this is a project that will have a positive impact on youth in the county. Therefore, it is recommended that your board authorize Employers Training Resource to submit an application for the National Endowment for the Arts, Our Town Grant, and that your board support Employers Training Resource's grant application for the Kern County Youth Film Festival and authorize the chairman to sign appropriate correspondence. Thank you, and that concludes my report. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hitchcock. We'll now go to the public. Are there any members of the audience that would like to make comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll return to the board.
I'll move the staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion.
Thank you. I'll second. And thank you, Teresa, for all your hard work on the workforce front. We're making major strides. I know we have our summit coming up in October, and I'm very excited about it. So keep up the good work. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Ms. Hitchcock, excellent job. Thank you so much. Next item on our agenda is item number 40. This is an item under Human Services. This is a request to accept in-kind donation valued at $12,000 from Stinson's for 200 backpacks and school supplies for foster children and vulnerable youth. And we'll ask Dina Murphy, our Department Director, to start us off. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Scrivener, Chairman Scrivener, members of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity to recognize Mr. Stinson and Stinson's today. I've asked Mr. Stinson to join me. Why don't you come up here where you're on camera with the folks? I know they're going to want to talk to you in a couple of minutes. We've had a long-standing partnership with Stinson's. Certainly, they're a cornerstone of the community now, having been in business for 70 years. And for the 25 years I've been with the Department of Human Services, we worked very closely with Ben Stinson and his staff. They're awesome. And when we share with them that we have a need, they respond immediately and with such generosity. And their latest act of kindness was us letting them know that we were short of backpacks. And so Ben Stinson and his staff jumped into giving mode as they they do over and over for us, and they put together these incredible backpacks that were heavy duty, and this is very telling of Mr. Stinson. He didn't want any stitching on that would recognize or advertise Stinson's. He simply wanted to give to the children and for them to be able to go into the school setting free and clear with the supplies that they needed to be successful in school. And 100 of those backpacks went to the pregnant and parenting teens that are seniors that are at the cusp and have applied for college, cusp of going into college. And with such generous supplies in them, they were really the most expensive and nicest backpacks that we've ever had. And as noticed, the total amount of his generous gift was $12,000. But you know, it doesn't stop there. So really wanted to thank Ben Stinson for his generosity and his collaborative business partnership with us. You know, this is local partnership at its very best. He not only takes care of us as a county agency all the time with a sense of urgency, but also to reach beyond those parameters and give to our vulnerable children is just something that we wanted to stop and take pause and thank him for, and give you the opportunity to thank him as well. We actually have a letter of thanks signed from the chairman of the board, which we'll be giving you, but we want to frame that for you first. So we'll hang on to that, and I'm going to turn the podium to you in case there are some comments for Mr. Stinson. But thank you so much.
Mr. Stinson, welcome and good morning.
Thank you, Chairman Scrivener. We are grateful for the partnership that we have with the Department of Human Services and the County of Kern at large. And we are grateful to the community because the community has really given us a lot. And I feel it's our responsibility to give back to the community that gives us. So it's a quid pro quo, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, the requested action is to approve and authorize the chairman to sign. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. Thank you for the marvelous partnership.
Mr. Chairman, may I say 70 years, right, Ben?
That's right. I look a day over 70.
You look younger. Yeah, you're doing well. Keep it up.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Big Daddy.
That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda this morning. We do have several items to consider in closed session. Under the County Administrative Office, we have items 58, 59, 60, and 61. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
We are adjourned.